Do you have any questions? If I say box, box. Stop, you stop. Break, break. You want to break. Okay. Go back to your corners and come back fighting.
Right, so we all set. Tapiwa Tembo from Zimbabwe up against Marc Leach of the United Kingdom. Reminder that Marc Leach out of Salford, Lancashire, and his first little visit out of England. So this is a new experience for him. Tapiwa Tembo, he's been around Africa. That might give him a slight edge.
That might give him a slight edge, especially if Marc Leach doesn't settle down to the environment very quickly. But with a nickname like Livewire, I expect this to Marc Leach to come out boxing and to be very quick out of the blocks.
Well, Marc Leach in the white and red trunks up against Zimbabwean Tapiwa Tembo. And what a way to start this bout with the Zimbabwean first up here at home in the capital, Harare. No doubt, reminder, this is 8 rounds. So just a little bit of a watch from both boxers. Marc Leach landing a punch nice and early, and another one. A couple of blows from Marc Leach, setting the early pace here in the first round. Tapiwa Tembo's just got to be aware of that right hand of Marc Leach.
Yeah, we've seen Tapiwa Tembo as a very slow starter into bouts. I don't think he's got that luxury in this bout because Marc Leach, as we said, likes to get out of the box very quickly. Earned him that nickname Livewire, and you can see it in this first round already. He's had a few telling blows that Tapiwa Tembo is going to have to recover and recover quickly.
Orthodox stance from Marc Leach, and the switch from Tapiwa Tembo. But so far, Marc Leach showing that he means business here. Like you said, Tapiwa Tembo, he's a slow starter. Just a little bit of nerves as well. Yes, he has been around Africa, but this is a big event for the African team.
Very big event, lots of responsibility on his shoulders, and he's come out first up, and we all know how important that getting those first points on the board are to Team Africa. So Tapiwa Tembo will need to see out this first wave and then see what he can do in that second round. And as you said, that orthodox stance has worked for him so far, but he needs to keep his guard up.
Into the last couple of seconds of round one. Just watchful, both boxers. And Tapiwa Tembo trying to make something of this first round. You'd like to think that Marc Leach has the upper hand from round one. But he's not called Livewire for nothing, is he? He's really quick.
He's really quick, and already I'm going to give this round to Marc Leach. I think he's come out of the blocks very quickly, but we know our boy Old Shotgun, he's able to recover in the subsequent rounds, and I'm sure he'll be looking to the second round to do some business. The crowd getting behind him now.
Well, that's what we expect tonight, especially the Zimbabweans. The crowd will get behind the Team Africa. You can hear it in the background. They want Tapiwa Tembo to land a couple of shots here before this first round. We have no doubt it's about to end.
Very cagey opening to this one. It opened out like a house on fire, but both fighters, I think, have sized each other up and seen what each other's weaknesses and strengths are, and it looks like they're warming to the task. I'm going to give that first round to Livewire, Marc Leach, but as we said, Tapiwa Tembo well able to get back into this fight.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, when we said Livewire, he's got a really quick punch, and Tapiwa Tembo maybe just a bit too watchful. No doubt he's been told 6 rounds, take your time. The fact that Marc Leach came out boxing, Tapiwa Tembo towards the end looked like he was trying to counter something that he lost early on.
Yeah, Tapiwa Tembo also a very clever fighter, so you know that he's thinking about this. He knows exactly what the strategy will be, but in truth, I'm a little concerned about those blows, the telling blows that Livewire, concerned for Tapiwa Tembo, of course, the telling blows that Livewire landed, because I think his guard was breached a few too many times in that first round. We'll need to watch for that in the second.
Barry Menandi gives round one to Marc Leach. A reminder that tonight is all about a team event, so a win for each boxer not only wins you the bout, which is a personal benefit, but you get 2 points to your team.
Exactly, 2 points to your team, and that's what they'll be looking for. A draw is it splits the points, so 1 each. So it doesn't really help either one of the teams. So they'll want to get a win outright and get into an early lead. Will Team UK and Team Africa.
Now it's better from Tapiwa Tembo, who's looking for that opportunity to land something against Leach. It's better from both boxes. No doubt the Tapiwa Tembo corner was talking about put him under a little bit of pressure. Don't let him take control of this bout. And early on in the second round, it looks like Tapiwa Tembo trying to put Marc Leach under pressure.
It looks like he's trying to put him under pressure, but as we said earlier, I mean, Marc Leach has only lost 1 fight in his career in the 10 fights he's participated in, and that loss only coming in his first bout. So since then, he's been an absolute whirlwind, a live wire, and winning all his bouts. And the last 3 bouts that he's fought, he's gone the distance and won it on points. So you got to think to yourself, in the war of attrition, Marc Leach probably shades it.
Well, not to mention that Tapiwa Tembo has fought a couple of times more than Marc Leach. One thing that stands out as well is the knockouts. 7 for Tapiwa Tembo, and he might be thinking to himself, is Marc Leach going to try and drag me all the way to the end? And Marc Leach will know that Tapiwa Tembo's knocked people out before.
It looks that way, and also, as you said at the start of this round, we talked about the fact that Tapiwa Tembo can get back. That was a solid left hook that landed right in the mush on Tapiwa Tembo, and those telling blows are going to build up as we go into the 6th rounder. We're in the 2nd round, and Marc Leach seeming like the more tactical fighter. Tapiwa Tembo warming to the task, as it were.
Just a bit of a standoff at the moment. Tapiwa Tembo finally landing something. That's good from Marc Leach. Good comeback from him as well. Now, a reminder as well is that if the bout is not settled, it will go to account at the end to who wins the trophy. So important that these boxers have that in the back of their mind. It's not just about your personal bout. It's adding those points to the team as well if needed.
And I hope that the team captains are doing their job of advising their boxers exactly what they need to do in terms of the overall objective of the team, rather than just boxing their bout and leaving it as it were.
Well, got to be said, end of round 2, no boxer looks like he's really broken a sweat yet. They look very comfortable. That's a good shot from Leach. He's landed a hit there. Not so sure what the stop was for.
Stop.
End of the 2nd round, and a good land from Marc Leach at the end there. That's going to count.
That's going to count, and again, I think a better round by Tapiwa Tembo, but I'm still going to give that 2nd round to Marc Leach as well, because he also warmed to the task in the 2nd round. Certainly Tapiwa Tembo getting out of the blocks in the 2nd round and seeming like the fighter who we know and love. But Marc Leach sizing them up very quickly and landing those telling blows, and they went through to his. There were headshots as well, so that's going to be a problem as we go deeper into this fight. Even as we look at those highlights, Tapiwa Tembo dropping his guard a little bit too quickly, and Livewire a little too quick for him.
Well, they watching them in their corners as both trainers are very vocal. Marc Leach looks pretty comfortable, does he?
Yeah, he looks comfortable, and that's got to be a concern for Tembo's corner and Team Africa as a whole, on the basis that I think Tembo is going to have to rattle this fighter at some point in this fight. And the 3rd round, listen, if he's going to warm to the task, he's got to do whatever he's got to do now.
Well, not that our opinion counts, but in the commentary box, I think as it stands right now, we're calling Marc Leach for this one.
Yeah, we're calling Marc Leach over the first 2 rounds as we start in the 3rd.
A reminder, 8 rounds. And both boxers, after 2 rounds, looking pretty comfortable. Marc Leach probably has the upper hand and landing a few more of his punches. That's another one from Leach. So Tapiwa Tembo, it's almost like he's short on a reach as well, that Marc Leach is a little bit longer reach than than Tapiwa Tembo, and he's just struggling with that a little bit.
Yeah, he's using that to good effect, and what's happening is that when Tapiwa Tembo is going in for that right jab, then he's opening up his defense for Leach to then land that left hook, and we've seen it land quite a few times right in the mush for Tapiwa Tembo, and he's got to find a counter for that. Well, that's going to see him really struggle in this bout.
That's a good set there from Marc Leach, landing a couple of punches against Tapiwa Tembo, and I think the one thing he's struggling with here, Marc Leach, a very open boxer. That's a good comeback from Tapiwa Tembo. He needs a few more of those. He needs to build a bit of momentum. Another one, and Leach replies. The open stance of Leach allows him to attack from both sides, and Tapiwa Tembo struggling with that.
And that's it, and one would have thought that Tapiwa Tembo, with the stance where he can switch between a southpaw and orthodox, you'd have thought to yourself that would give him an advantage, but Marc Leach has countered that to good effect, and certainly leading in this bout.
Just looking for that opportunity, Tapiwa Tembo. He's not getting many of them. Marc Leach just keeping his distance far back enough. He's really got Tapiwa Tembo rattled here.
See, Dirk, it's a counter-attack of Tapiwa Tembo, and that's a lot better. He's got to be able to lure Marc Leach in and then counter-attack just as he's done there.
Doesn't really seem to bother Marc Leach, because every time Tapiwa Tembo throws a punch, Marc Leach seems to have a reply. And he's sort of looking for him to punch him, because he's opening himself up for a reply from Leach.
Absolutely, and it's that right hook that seems to be landing every single time. He's going to have to work on his defense. Is that reach you were talking about?
He definitely has a little bit more on Tapiwa Tembo here. He's taken a couple of his bouts to 6 rounds as well, both of these boxers. So happy to go the distance is Marc Leach, but at this stage, he just seems to have the upper hand on Tapiwa Tembo.
Stop.
Well, the question is, Barry Menandi, has Tapiwa Tembo had his 3 rounds of a look, and it's time to come and box?
It's time to come and box. I think it's time to open up now. And listen, that third round I think is going to be a split decision. Perhaps Tapiwa Tembo shading it slightly. You can see that counter-attacking that we were talking about earlier. That's where the money's going to be for Tapiwa Tembo. But Marc Leach, as you say, always has a response for that.
Well, great pictures here at Rory International Conference Centre as we are first bout in, about to hit round 4 of our first encounter of Team UK up against Team Africa. Like we said, Marc Leach, he really seems to be sticking to a game plan here, and at this stage it's working. Tapiwa Tembo needs to change something up. Marc Leach, open stance, he's got options on both hands, and Tapiwa Tembo's not coping with that.
Yeah, and I'd like to see Tapiwa Tembo using the strength that we know he has of being able to switch between stances and utilize to that good effect. That open stance of Marc Leach can also be a detraction if Tembo can utilize to good effect, just like that.
Crowd are loving this. Maybe Tapiwa Tembo heard you, Barry Menandi.
Yeah, a bit of a slugfest turning into there, and perhaps that's what this is going to require. A bit of a street fight, where Marc Leach, we can see he's an educated boxer. Perhaps a street fight is the way to win this bout.
Well, Tapiwa Tembo, we said he's boxed around Africa, he's been around, he's had 17 fights. And Marc Leach, definitely the junior from experience, he's only had 11. So Tapiwa Tembo, no doubt, has been in this position before. He knows what to do. But I have no doubt that part of the discussion in his corner has been, be careful you don't fall too far back, because you might not be able to come back from that.
Certainly recovery would be a problem. And Marc Leach now, I think, realizes that he's in a bout. He's certainly in a bout against Tapiwa Tembo, because Tembo has come out firing in this 4th round.
The crowd now getting behind Tapiwa Tembo. I think they feel it as well. We're in round 4, and the crowd are feeling that Tapiwa Tembo needs to lift his game a little bit. That's better. landing a punch and another one. What he seems to be struggling with is every time he lands something, Marc Leach, with his pace, as we said, he's really quick, known as the Livewire. He comes back really quickly. It's got to land a punch, he's got to get out the way, or he's got to put him on the canvas.
And it looks like he's understood that, because you can see he's going for that left jab, landing a telling punch, a counting or scoring blow, and then moving out of the distance where Livewire can get back into counter-attacking mode. So it looks like his corner has certainly got involved here.
A couple of landed punches from Marc Leach. Yes, Tapiwa Tembo better in this round, but I'll tell you the other thing he's doing, he's now starting to use some of that energy, and that is going to tell as well.
We spoke about the fact that in a war of attrition, it's likely to be Marc Leach who would shade it. Seems the leaner boxer, he's definitely the younger boxer, 5 years younger than Tapiwa Tembo. So he might have a bit more endurance if this bout goes deep and long and is in need of endurance.
A couple of opportunities for Tapiwa Tembo. He's got to land them. He's got to make them count.
Some of those body blows getting through, but I don't think they did any damage. Stop!
Well, it's all of a sudden kicked off 3 rounds of just sort of eyeing each other out, and all of a sudden they've come out and thrown some real punches. And as much as, in our opinion, Tapiwa Tembo's the guy who's got to make the play here, every time he's thrown a punch, Leach has come back.
Yeah, got a good counter-attack on him. Leach is able to counter-attack quite well, but I think also that counter-attacking is a function of Tapiwa Tembo leaving himself open. And you got to think to yourself, when he's doing the left-right combination of body blows and then going up towards his jaw, he's getting a lot of purchase out of that. He's got to use the combinations now. He's not going to land the telling blows in singles. It's going to have to be the combinations that get him into this bout. But Marc Leach, educated boxer, very impressed with this fella.
Well, it looks like the reach of Marc Leach is really making the difference here. We didn't think it would. But like you said, Tapiwa Tembo trying to get in with a punch opens himself up every time. And no doubt the game plan for Marc Leach, because he's played it really well, is that every time that opening comes, he's landed something.
It's that counter-attack. It's a counter-attack that's going to be a problem.
Well, round 5 now. As these two boxers, they look pretty comfortable, pretty fresh. But the more they're going to go at each other, they'll start tiring out pretty quickly. And Marc Leach, like you said, the experience that he has, he's almost a kind of boxer that I'm waiting for you to come at me. And when you come at me, I'm going to come back at you. I'll look to find the odd jab and score some points, but you're going to have to make the play. And when you do, make sure you're ready for me.
Yeah, clever boxer. And Tapiwa Tembo is going to have to think about this one. It's a chess match, this one. They've sized each other up and they know what each other's strengths and weaknesses are. And you can see there's something we haven't seen throughout this bout. Marc Leach landing a body blow on Tapiwa Tembo. That's going to be a concern as well.
Well, a great opportunity for both these boxers. We said Marc Leach has never left the United Kingdom to box. He's now in Africa, and in our opinion, he's up here against Tapiwa Tembo, a man who's fought over around Africa, and an opportunity for him to fight a man from the UK. A great experience for both of them, and no doubt they'll both learn here.
Yeah, and Marc Leach now looks like he's settled into the bout and knows this is going to go the distance. If you look at it, he's just looking for those scoring blows, just trying that right jab to get himself ahead on points.
Well, a minute to go in the 5th round, and like we said, Tapiwa Tembo in the last round came out and tried to make the play. To be fair, Marc Leach countered it. The problem now is they're going to go out of round 5 into 2 to go, And I have no doubt Marc Leach is going to sit in his corner. His trainer's going to tell him, you've got this one. Just keep doing what you're doing. And Tapiwa Tembo is going to have to do something.
More of the same, I think the Marc Leach's corner will be calling for. Because right now
There you go, Tapiwa Tembo. He lands a couple. Is that what he needs? A little bit of confidence, but Leach comes back.
it's the combinations, Dirk. We talked about the combinations. That's where the money is for Tapiwa Tembo. As long as he can't land those combinations, I think this fight is going sadly in the direction, sadly for Africa, in the direction of Marc Leach, and he's got to put him on his back foot.
Again, a good counter from Marc Leach with Tapiwa Tembo. Thinking he had him on the ropes, it cornered him.
Stop!
And end of another round. Maybe a little bit tougher to call that one. Tapiwa Tembo did land a couple, but I think the count is starting to add up against Tapiwa Tembo.
It is. I'm also going to give that round. I gave the previous one to Tapiwa Tembo. I'm going to give this one to Tapiwa Tembo as well because he landed some telling blows. The only concern would be the scoring blows that were landed by Marc Leach. As we watch those highlights, when he had him on the ropes like that and work those combinations, he needs to then continue the attack and keep going at him. You got to think to yourself, there's something there.
Well, I think his problem is he was worried for the counter. But let me tell you, that one punch hit him nice in the chin. That's hurt him. That's hurt Marc Leach. And Tapiwa Tembo missed a trick there. Because one thing Marc Leach does do, the semi-arrogance of leaving himself open. He had hit him, he had landed a good punch. He should have carried on going. But he was nervous of the counter.
And stepped away too quickly. And that step away is then causing Marc Leach to then be able to counter-attack. And Marc Leach, as you say, he's leaving himself open. His defense is not that great. Tapiwa Tembo needs to take advantage.
Round 6. In our first bout of Friday fight nights here in Harare, live on Kwese, wherever you're watching around Africa. Thank you very much for joining us. Team UK up against Africa. There will be a trophy at the end of the night, and these boxers will know there is personal glory in their own individual bout, but their points will count to the trophy at the end of the night, as they will fight tonight for the Kwese Cup. Better from Tapiwa Tembo, but unable to land anything that I would count as valuable. That's better. A couple of punches, and for the first time we're seeing Marc Leach just going in and grabbing the boxer. We haven't seen much of that.
And again, it's that counter-attack though. That counter-attack continues to come at Tapiwa Tembo. He needs to really attack Marc Leach and keep the attack going. Almost do a Marc Leach on Marc Leach, be a live wire in that ring, just as he's done there.
Well, again, Marc Leach just going in for the hug. Now, we haven't seen him do that all night. The question is he starting to tire?
He's starting to tire, and one would have thought that Marc Leach would be the fitter of these two boxers, but it seems like he's feeling the pace a little bit there and going in for the hug and holding him.
Well, the experience of Tapiwa Tembo, he'll know. He'll spot the signs when he thinks Marc Leach is tiring. He sort of lacked a little bit of rhythm, Tapiwa Tembo. He hasn't really got into it. He's landed a couple. There we go again. Marc Leach.
I'll say the same about both boxers. I think they've dominated in patches, but it hasn't been consistent. That's a telling blow by Tapiwa Tembo. That one can send you to night land.
Oh, needs a few more, Tapiwa Tembo. Better.
Stop.
Dirk, I'm watching the eyes of Marc Leach, and I think that Tapiwa Tembo's got to him now.
He's looking a little bit more
He's
laboured.
a little bit laboured. And as you say, he's holding a lot more now. So I think he's feeling the pace now.
Oh, the tide's turning. The question is, has Tapiwa Tembo left it too late? Marc Leach is tired. He's hurting. and the crowd can sense it.
Stop!
I think Marc Leach would have enjoyed that bell a lot more than Tapiwa Tembo. I think that round definitely belonged to Tapiwa Tembo, and I think this is what we expected to see round about the third round. And you asked the pertinent question, Dirk, as he left it too late.
Well, we'll have to wait and see, but Tapiwa Tembo, for the first time we've seen in this bout, he's forced Marc Leach to come to him. He's pulled him in a couple of times, and it's because he's tired. That's why Marc Leach is pulling him out, and he's finding himself against the ropes, is Marc Leach. There's a chance here for Tapiwa Tembo. Marc Leach not looking as fresh as he was 2 rounds ago.
Yeah, and now taking in a lot more oxygen, and you can tell that his trainer's trying to get him fresh again, trying to get that recovery going, because getting that oxygen into his lungs is going to help him to recover. And the reason he's doing that, as you quite rightly pointed out, he's getting tired and he's hurt.
Well, the bell came, like you said, Barry, just at the right time for Marc Leach. Tapiwa Tembo, I think he can sniff an opportunity here. The question is, like we said, has he left it too late? Has Marc Leach got enough lead here on the count that if Tapiwa Tembo goes the distance, that Marc Leach will win on the count?
Tembo's got Leach rattled here. He needs to take full advantage and keep him on the back foot.
That's better from Tapiwa Tembo.
Break!
Dirk, we saw Marc Leach swing a left hook there, and it looked very labored, very tired.
He just seems to have lost a little bit of his structure, has Marc Leach. When he came out, he was compact. He punched at the right time. He found the gaps against Tapiwa Tembo.
Break!
And all of a sudden, it looks like now he's throwing punches, not quite in desperation, but not far off.
Not far off this desperation. And it's fatigue.
Box!
It's the fact that there's been some telling blows landed by Tembo. And Tembo needs to take advantage now. He's got to go for the jugular, as it were.
The other thing we didn't see in the first couple of rounds was Marc Leach walking backwards. He was the one that forcing Tapiwa Tembo onto the ropes. Now we're seeing Marc Leach trying to find space. That's a good combination, but a good reply from Marc Leach. Crowd really getting behind Tapiwa Tembo.
Tapiwa Tembo's defense now a lot more impressive than it was in those first rounds, as you pointed out. And now those scoring blows aren't as easy to come by for Marc Leach, and that's going to cause him to get some frustration as well. But will it be enough? Is there enough time for Tapiwa Tembo?
Break!
Well, was that a stagger from Marc Leach? I'm not sure. Good combination again from Tapiwa Tembo, but Marc Leach's experience, he is just managing to stop any momentum from Tapiwa Tembo, and that's a good combination from Leach. A man who we've said is struggling, he's fatigued. A good little combination from him. And again from Marc Leach. You can just hear in the background the clapping, that's from his corner.
Well, with the bell about to come, I think this one is too close to call this round. Because as the fighters get tired, they begin to turn it into a slugfest, and that's exactly what we're seeing now.
Well, Marc Leach for me was better in that round. We said that he was tired, and the bell in the last round came just at the right time for him. He coped there, and he put in some telling blows towards the end there, and we couldn't see it, we could see it. Just his corner clapping and encouraging him. I think they were happy with that round.
Certainly happier with that round, and they think that they've got Tapiwa Tembo rattled here. To be a judge in this one, my goodness, how would you call this one? You look at Tapiwa Tembo, he's utilizing his ability to put his opponent on the ropes, and Marc Leach having to resort to holding, something we didn't see earlier in this fight. But again, an aspect that comes up when fighters are getting tired. It's turning into a real scrap, this one. We're going into a final round. And this one, oh my goodness, too close to call.
Last and final round.
Well, 3 minutes left in the first bout here at the Harare International Conference Centre in the capital Harare for Team Africa versus Team UK. Reminder, this has happened once before in Manchester where Team UK beat Team Africa. That's better from Tapiwa Tembo. He lands a good punch on Marc Leach. He's got to make them count, Tapiwa Tembo. He's getting himself in a good position. That's good from Leach. Now the question is, have Tapiwa Tembo's punches counted? And I don't think so. Better. Good combinations from Leach.
Break.
And as you said earlier, Dirk,
Break.
it's the fact that
Stop,
Tapiwa
stop.
Tembo's alive to Leach's counter-attack. He's coming at him and then walking away, and at that time, that's when Leach is then counter-attacking, as we saw there. Whoa. Great uppercut there by Leach.
He's still landing the blows, is Leach, and Tapiwa Tembo probably
Break.
a couple short.
Don't hold. Break.
That's better. He lands that one.
Break. Stop. Box.
Oh, this has been a fantastic chess match between these two great fighters, sizing each other up. Very
stop.
tactical and very
Stop.
strategic.
Stop. Stop. Stop.
He's tired, Marc Leach, but the feeling in he's done enough. He's just got to get through the next 50 seconds. He lands one to Tapiwa Tembo. Can he land him again?
Stop.
Can he finish him
Stop.
off?
Stop. 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 You're not fighting. Box.
And again from Tapiwa Tembo.
Break.
The crowd willing him on, and
Break.
these stoppages only play in
Stop.
Marc Leach's hands.
If I
So
say
Tapiwa
break,
Tembo
you
has
break.
got
Okay,
to
boys.
try and get this, turn it into a slugfest as much as he
Stop.
can.
Stop. 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 Box.
That's landed from Tapiwa Tembo. In question, I think he's out of time though. I think Leach has done enough.
Don't hold.
He's now begging the bell, is Marc Leach. He's
Break.
tired.
Stop.
Oh, well, what an opening bout here in Team UK versus Team Africa in Harare. Marc Leach is tired, but he's put up a heck of a fight here in Harare up against the local boy, Tapiwa Tembo.
Tapiwa Tembo, just by those pictures, reckoning he's done enough, saluting the crowd, thinks that he's won this one. It's too close to call for me. I think there were scoring blows, quite a few by both fights.
Question is, Tapiwa Tembo on some occasions, Marc Leach was landing his punches, he was making them count. That was better from Tapiwa Tembo, but I get the feeling that when Marc Leach hit him, it would have counted by the judges.
Those combinations are what really hurt Tapiwa Tembo, and it's scoring blows as well. So that'll be a concern for Tapiwa Tembo, whether he's done enough to win this bout. The judges are going to decide now, and it's shucks, who shades this one?
Well, both corners very quiet. There wasn't too much excitement or enthusiasm or emotion from both corners. I don't know, maybe they're a little bit nervous on how this is going to go. We've made our call and we've been very clear. I got to take back what I said about Marc Leach when I said he was getting tired in the 6th, 7th round. I think he played it well. Yes, he was tired at the end, but I got a feeling that he's done enough. I think he's done enough against Tapiwa Tembo. He landed the punches at the right times, and he was chasing the game, Tapiwa Tembo, in my opinion.
A couple of aspects that we got right there, Dirk, and that was that we said that Marc Leach was likely to have a little more in the tank in terms of endurance, and we saw him get that second wind in those latter rounds of this fight, working the combinations, ensuring that he was getting the scoring blows against Tapiwa Tembo. So on our side, I think that second win by Marc Leach may have just been enough, especially with those landing combinations against Tapiwa Tembo.
The bottom line is that if you can stay standing and he's not going to knock you out, it's going to come down to points. And if you did the points in the first 4 rounds and looked a little bit ropey at the end, it doesn't really matter. But where the judges are going to have to make a call here is, yes, did Tapiwa Tembo come back? But even when he did, and we were saying how well Tapiwa Tembo was landing, Marc Leach always had a counter for him.
Yeah, but it's those early rounds, isn't it, Turk? The early rounds that are going to really hurt. If ultimately Marc Leach wins this one, it's those early rounds that are going to have counted against Tapiwa Tembo. We say that he's a slow starter as a fighter. He needs to get out of the blocks early, especially against the Livewire, who he knew and always knew was going to come out boxing.
Well, always great to see as well. We see it all the time, professional sport and the camaraderie. Who would think that you will spend 8 rounds in a ring, beat each other as much as you can, and then go and give each other a hug at the end?
Still be able to shake each other's hands. Just to look at some of the combinations landed by Tapiwa Tembo. We talked about the fact that he worked his way into this bout, and when he did, he was a phenomenal fighter. Certainly landed some telling blows there.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, please give your appreciation to 2 fantastic fighters. What an opening contest for this Kwese Cup. Team Africa taking on Team UK. Your judges ringside have scored the fight. They award the fight a split decision in favor of your winner. From Zimbabwe, Tapiwa Tembo. Well, ladies and gents, a big round of applause for Salford's Marc Leach.